A lot of people think Ivory Coast is cheap, but cheap compared to where? Today I'm breaking down how much money you need to survive here in Ivory Coast monthly. Not luxury, not vibes, real life. And trust me, some numbers will surprise you. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I make videos about life, business and realities in Ivory Coast. So if that interests you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It's free of charge, and don't forget to give this video one of my thumbs up. In one of my previous videos, I talked about the Ivorian Sefa money. You can check that out. Now let's answer the big question everyone asks me. How much do you actually need every month to survive here? Now let's start with the rent, which is your biggest expense here in Ivory Coast. Rent depends on your city and your lifestyle. Average monthly rent in Abidjan ranges from around, single room in popular areas ranges from around 30,000 to 60,000 CFA. A studio apartment in Abidjan in a popular area ranges from around 70,000 to 150,000 CFA. The one-bedroom apartment ranges from around 150,000 CFA to 300,000 CFA. Now rent is paid monthly, and as a new tenant moving into the house, the landlord will ask you to pay about 4 to 6 months upfront. 1 month covers the caution fee, the second month covers the agent's fee, and then the rest covers your rent. So that's how payment is being structured. Housing payment is being structured here in Ivory Coast, and then rent is paid monthly. So as a new person, you don't just take a house and you pay for only 1 month. You'll be paying around 4 to 6 months depending on the landlord. Now let's move to food. How much you need to eat daily. So if you're someone that eats street food / local food, you can spend around 1,500 to 3,000 CFA daily. That covers your morning, afternoon, and evening food. And on a monthly basis, on a monthly average, you can spend around 45,000 to 80,000 CFA monthly if you're eating street food. Then if you're someone that cooks at home, you buy your groceries, you buy your foodstuffs from the market, and then you cook at home, you can spend around 30 to 50,000 CFA on foodstuffs. You can check my previous video. The last video I posted, I did a market vlog where I showed the cost of food in the market. You can check that out for prices of food here in Ivory Coast. Then we'll move to transport. For public transport, your bus, your taxis, your bikes, on a daily average, you can spend 1,000 to 2,000 CFA depending on the distance you're going, depending on how frequent you move. And then on a monthly basis, you can spend around 25,000 to 40,000 CFA for that. And then if you're someone that books ride, your Yango, your Uber, you can spend around 50,000 to 70,000 monthly depending on how frequent you move. And then we'll move to internet / phone. This covers your mobile data, your call card, and all that. You can spend around 10,000 to 15,000 CFA depending on how frequent you call, depending on how you use it, and all that. And then we also have the Wi-Fi. I talked about, if you're someone that follows my video, I've talked about Wi-Fi here in Ivory Coast in 1 or 2 of my videos. You can purchase your Wi-Fi for 500 CFA for a week and 2,500 CFA for a month, unlimited, to do whatever you want, And coming to me, I'm someone that uses the Wi-Fi. I don't really use their call card or their data, because their call here in Ivory Coast, their call card usually expires. There are some you buy, it can last for 1 or 2 days, and after that it expires. There are some you buy, it will last for about a week or so, and then it will expire, even though you don't use it. So just the way our data in Nigeria expires, that's how their call card here in Ivory Coast expires. It has time limits. So I don't buy call card unless it's something important, because I don't really make calls. So that is that for internet and phone. Then we'll move to utility. For utility, we have electricity. For electricity, you can spend 3,000 to 10,000 CFA monthly, depending on your appliances, depending on how you use your lights. For the water, you can spend around 3,000 to 7,000 CFA. And then for your cooking gas, I made a video about gas systems in Ivory Coast, where you take your empty cooking gas to the boutique. A boutique is a shop where they sell gas, and other things. You can take your empty gas there and then exchange it for a filled one. So for the small gas, which is around 4 to 5 kg, that's around 2,200 CFA. And then for the big gas, which is around 8 to 10 kg. That's around 5,500 sefa. So that's for gas. And then we move to small but important expenses. We have our laundry, which you can spend around 5,000 to 10,000 sefa on a monthly basis. And then your toiletries and basics around 3,000 to 7,000 sefa. And then you have your emergency slash miscellaneous. You can spend around 10,000 to 20,000 sefa on that. And then the total monthly survival cost for someone that is not too extravagant, basic, very basic survival, you can spend around 120 to 150,000 sefa monthly. If you're someone that maybe lives in a single room, and then you maybe eat local food, or you get your foodstuffs from the market, and then you prepare your food yourself, and then maybe you take public transport to wherever you're going, you can spend within that range. And then if you're someone that for comfortable but modest, not too extravagant, you can spend around 180,000 to 250,000 sefa monthly. That's if you're someone that maybe stay in a studio apartment, and then you have mixed food, maybe you eat street food sometimes, and then you eat maybe in a fancy restaurant, and then you also buy foodstuffs, just mixed. And then you take public transport slash private booking, maybe Uber and Yango, you know, kind of comfortable but modest. You can spend around 180 to 250,000 sefa monthly. For decent slash luxury style living, you can spend around 300,000 sefa and above. If you're someone that lives in a 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom apartment, you eat in fancy restaurants, you book your private rides, and all that comfort, that is for that. You can spend around that amount. Then come down to yourself. If you're someone that is prudent, you don't spend much, I take myself as an example. Whichever content I'm making, I always like to use myself as example. Someone like me, for this budget, for this monthly budget, I can spend way, way, way less than this. Coming to your food, I'm the kind of person that buys my foodstuffs. I buy my foodstuffs from the local markets. I can spend around 20 to 25,000 sefa. That can last me for a full month or even more. I get my basic foodstuffs, my rice, beans, yam, gari, plantain, potato, onions, maggi, pepper, oil, everything I'll need. I get from the local market. I can spend around 20 to 25,000 sefa on that, and I cook my food at home. And then for the public transport, I can spend way, way less than this, because I don't really go out unless it's very, very important. And if you're someone that maybe your workplace is not far from your house, you can spend way, way less than this amount I called. And then for internet slash phone, I already said it in one of my previous video. I use the Wi-Fi here. For a week is 500 sefa, for a month is 2,500 sefa, which is very, very good. It will last you for the full month to do whatever you want. It's unlimited Wi-Fi. So that is that for internet and phone. And then for the utilities, which covers your electricity. For your electricity, you can subscribe around 1,000 to 300. Personally, I can use about 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000 sefa for the full month, and it can even be more. And then for water, 3,000 to 7,000 sefa. It can be less than this depending on how you use it. So if you're someone that is prudent, you don't spend much, you're not extravagant, this budget I gave, or I said in this content, you can spend way, way less than that. But then this is just like an idea to give you the cost of living here in Ivory Coast. So in conclusion, Ivory Coast is very affordable if you understand the system. But if you come without information, you can spend double. And that is why this channel exists, to educate you about living in Ivory Coast and to save you money and stress. So thank you guys for watching. We've come to the end of this video. If you're seeing my video for the first time, my name is Diamond. I'm a Nigerian living in Ivory Coast. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to follow me across other social media platforms on my Facebook and TikTok at Life with Diamond Vlogs. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Diamond. I'm a Nigerian living in Ivory Coast, and I'll see you on my next video.